It was in Nagano in 1998 that our next guest made the headlines, winning, losing, and then regaining his gold medal for snowboarding at the Winter Olympics after testing positive for cannabis.
You know, it was like a double-edged sword. On the one side, it was this amazing experience of triumph and accomplishing your goals and realizing dreams. And then on the other side, it was like a nightmare. And the taboo of cannabis was very much a part of that. And the stigma that it carried really affected, the years after, directly after Nagano.
Canada's Ross Rebagliati did, though, get his Olympic gold medal back, because although cannabis was banned by the International Ski Federation, it wasn't on the list of substances outlawed by the International Olympic Committee. Ross says he was, though, still shunned by big brands. He faced travel bans, was unable to continue in his sport, and struggled to support his family financially. 20 years on, cannabis is now banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency for use in competitions, although a cannabis compound is allowed. As for Rebagliati, he's now an advocate for what he sees as the responsible use of the drug.
Cannabis was something that I believed in before I went to Nagano, and I continue to, and over the years I became an advocate for it, and I knew that cannabis was good for me. We didn't have the information back in the mid-90s or late 90s. Now we do. It backed up everything that we were pretty sure about, from our own experiences with cannabis and from what everyone else was talking about. But now we have the scientific studies that back up, what we already were fairly aware of, and that was the health benefits and that cannabis can be part of a healthy lifestyle.
So why do you think it remains then on WADA's prohibited list for in competition?
Well, they did add it after my games in Nagano in 1998, but then raised that limit by 1,000% only 2 years ago. So there has been some allowances for THC, but what WADA did this year was more significant, I believe, and that was their decision to take CBD off the list of banned substances.
For those who don't know what CBD is?
Oh, so CBD is cannabidiol, which is one of the basic compounds of the cannabis plant that's non-psychoactive, but is responsible for the anti-anxiety qualities. It's excellent for anti-inflammatory purposes when used in topical creams.
But cannabis does remain illegal in some states. It does remain illegal in countries across the world. Why do you think that is, if there's not perhaps scientific reason to back those claims up, to back that stance up?
Well, I think over the years, scientific research on cannabis in general has only been allowed if it was to do with the negative effects of cannabis. So now we're seeing funded scientific studies that are proving its benefits in scientific trials. And so when you have the science community backing up these claims with scientific evidence, that's when you get the conversation going, and that's when this information can get out. And, just because a study, comes out that's promoting, CBD with regards to Alzheimer's or concussions or, brain cells that are damaged brain cells that are come back to life with the use of CBD, the seizures that the kids have that are being medicated with the CBD extracts. We can't expect an overnight decision to completely legalize it around the world. But what we do is, get the information out. We lobby the correct parts of the government, and we talk to the College of Physicians, and we really just have to try to spread the information and the scientific results and go about it in a very formal way.
Those clearly will be your views that you hold and see it as a positive, the negatives which you will be well versed in too. I'm just reading from an article, a health article published in the UK here where we're broadcasting from, saying the evidence against cannabis, teenagers who smoke cannabis are more likely to develop mental illness. Recent studies suggest that users are at least 6 times more likely than non-users to develop schizophrenia too. This was a study published in the British Medical Journal. So again, there will be these counter-arguments. Feel free.
Describe, for example, schizophrenia. It doesn't create schizophrenia. It brings schizophrenia that's pre-existing to the surface. And, not is every substance in the world isn't for everybody. You know, people are allergic to peanut butter, for example. So you have to look at it from a standpoint of an overall health standpoint. And, you know, most of these studies and, you know, the gateway theories and things like that, I would argue it boils down to parenting. And, you know, there isn't one substance that's a gateway for other things.
Ross Rebagliati, who was making headlines at the 98 Winter Games in Nagano. And that's at the same games where...
So